Good morning, everyone. My name is Nicolette Castagna, and I am so glad to be here with all of you who are tuning in on this beautiful Valentine's Day morning. So today we're going to have a guided exercise and some education to focus on self-love. So I know that Valentine's Day is, it's traditionally all about celebrating romantic love. And depending on your circumstance, this might bring some mixed emotions. So instead of focusing on that this morning, what we are going to focus on is something that we can all benefit from, learning how to practice self-love or self-compassion. So what is compassion? Compassion is recognizing suffering in others and wanting to do something about it, wanting to do something to take it away, to help. So with self-compassion, we are turning that towards ourselves. So this can feel a little strange. Maybe it feels a little embarrassing or too touchy-feely, especially if it's, we're not used to doing this kind of thing. But it's a very, very powerful practice. And really, what's the alternative? To beat ourselves up, to be hard on ourselves. This is a really common approach too. Unfortunately, it's a learned behavior. We think that by being critical, maybe it will teach us to not make a mistake in the future, but it's just simply not a helpful thing. In fact, what it does to our bodies when we are critical and judgmental of ourselves is it actually activates the fight or flight threat response in our bodies. So our deep brain, the oldest part of our brain, it sends out signals to raise our blood pressure, to activate the stress hormone of cortisol. It's like it's telling our body to prepare to confront or avoid a threat. And this is not what we need when we're having a hard time emotionally or mentally. So when we are kind to ourselves, when we are compassionate towards ourselves, this actually decreases that stress hormone, cortisol. It activates the caring and support system within our bodies. There's been a lot of research recently around how helpful self-love and how helpful self-compassion can be. Kristen Neff is a psychologist researcher that I've learned a lot from about this approach. And her and many others that have been studying this find that self-compassion boosts our happiness, it boosts our resiliency, our ability to handle tough things and bounce back. It can decrease the effects of anxiety and depression. And it's really good for us. It's really helpful. So this talk was titled Mindfulness. So where does the mindfulness come in? Well, what I mean when I talk about mindfulness is paying attention in the present moment and ideally without judgment, okay? So what that's doing is we are checking in with ourselves, we're noticing what's going on with ourselves so that we can be aware of if we're feeling stressed, if there's something that we need, there's something going on with us. And it is a skill that we can learn and practice, but when we couple mindfulness and being aware with self-compassion, they go hand in hand. So mindfulness it's like asking ourselves, what am I experiencing right now? And just checking in on that. What's going on around me? What's going on within me? And then self-compassion is like asking, what do I need right now? So on this day of love, let's focus on turning that in towards ourselves. If we're having a hard time, or just not at all, we're having a good day, it's good to focus on self-love and self-appreciation. Consider, what do I appreciate about myself? What have I overcome in my life? Think about, what do others respect and appreciate about me? And just take a moment and let that sink in. So what we're trying to do is just take a kinder and more gentler approach with ourselves. Be nice to us, okay? So when we can check in, notice how we're doing, ask ourselves what we need, we can choose actions that are helpful for us. Is it taking a break? Is it resting when we need to? Is it practicing forgiveness, forgiving ourselves? Is it saying no? Is it saying no when we need to say no? Is it having fun? Is it listening to music? Like, what do we need to do to feel better in this moment? So I'm going to go ahead and explain 2 different ways that we can practice self-compassion, because it is a skill, it is a behavior that we need to learn to try to integrate it more in our lives. And one of the easiest, maybe not easiest, but a very straightforward way that we can do this is through supportive touch. So this might feel a little strange, but literally take your hand, place it on your heart. Talk to yourself in a kind way, be gentle with yourself, be loving with yourself, maybe give yourself a little rub on the arm. Our body doesn't really know that it's just us doing this to ourselves, and it activates the relaxation response in our nervous system. Supportive touch is a really helpful way to bring that self-kindness, bring that self-compassion to ourselves. Another way that we can practice this self-kindness is to talk to ourselves like we would talk to a close friend or a loved one that is having a hard time. Okay, so think about, what would you say to that person if they were having a tough day, if they were going through something that was really challenging and really stressful? What would you say to that person? So think about that for a second. And then turn that towards yourself. You know, it's okay that you're feeling this way. You're going to get through it. Maybe even throw in some words like, "It's okay, sweetie," or "It's okay, dear." You know, those really endearing terms that we often use with others. Why don't we use that towards ourselves? So I really encourage you to try that next time you are having a tough moment, facing a life challenge. Try that supportive touch, you know, gently placing your hand on yourself, activating that relaxation and caring response within our bodies. And then thinking about, what would you say to a friend or loved one going through a hard time, and say that to yourself. So self-compassion, it does require, you know, a little bit of vulnerability. We're checking in with our emotions. We're being aware of what's going on within us. And we're kind of saying, it's okay that I'm having a hard time right now. We're dropping into this place of, okay, this is a moment of suffering. This is a common thing about being a human. You know, we go through hard times. And you're just dropping in, checking in with yourself. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And then choosing to do something that's loving, choosing to do something that's kind. All right, so hopefully those are some helpful tips that you all can try and, you know, practice today on Valentine's Day. And to close out our time, I am going to lead us through a guided meditation exercise. So for those of y'all that are watching, I encourage you to have a seat, find a comfortable chair, maybe a quiet place in your home. So have a seat, get situated, placing your feet on the floor if that's available to you, and just begin to tune in a little bit with your body. Notice the sounds around you in the room. Notice how it feels to be supported by the chair that you're sitting in. And just take some big deep breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. Our breath is a really nice way to check in with ourselves. Taking big deep breaths in and of itself is truly an act of self-love. We're bringing in more oxygen. We're relaxing our bodies. So use that breath. Let's try that supportive touch that I talked about a few moments ago. So I'm going to ask all of you, if it's comfortable to you, to place both of your hands on your heart. Breathe into your hands and really pay attention to how that feels. Sending a message of love and support to yourself. Continuing to breathe in that soothing breath. And notice your hands move as your chest rises with an inhale. And dropping on an exhale as you let go. And really focus on sending an intention of kindness and support towards yourself. We have all been through a lot the last few years, so we need it. We need that support. Welcome it, embrace it. Just notice how your hands feel against your chest, that gentle pressure and warmth. Continuing to breathe. And as you're ready, you can drop your hands onto your lap or by your sides. And I encourage you, if it's comfortable, to close your eyes to really bring your attention inward. Continuing to breathe and focusing on your breath, curiously noticing an inhale and an exhale, wherever you feel the breath the most. Is it through your nose? Is it your chest, your throat? Just curiously observing these soothing breaths that we have with us. Inhaling and exhaling. Thanking yourself for taking part in this exercise. Enjoying a little bit of rest and a little bit of stillness in this moment. I now want you to call to mind a gesture of comfort, a hug, a smile, love from someone that you care about, love from your pet, laughter, something that's positive and warming and soothing. And I want you to notice what happens when you think about that, when you tap into that emotion, tap into that experience. Is there warmth in your chest? What's going on when you tap into that feeling of receiving love, receiving comfort? Focus on that feeling, and we're going to do a body scan. So starting at the top of our head, and just noticing, moving that feeling of warmth, of care, of support down into your face. Notice if you're clenching your face, your jaw, relax your face. Now moving down into your throat, into your heart. And let's stay in this heart space for a moment. Maybe opening your chest a little bit more, finding a little more room and openness in that heart, and sending love, welcoming that feeling of support, of care, of kindness. And breathe into your heart. Now moving into your abdomen, down into your lower body, to your legs, your knees, your shins, your calves, your feet on the ground. And just notice, letting it all sink in. Breathing in, always come back to your breath if your mind begins to wander. Notice how it feels to be cared for. Notice how it feels to be taking a moment to support yourself. Now I want you all following along to bring a sense of safety, a wish of safety and support for yourself. May I be safe. And now bring a wish of happiness, wellness, and peacefulness inward to yourself and to others that you care about. May I be happy. May I be well. May I be at peace. And allow that to permeate your body, permeate your cells, your heart, the space within you, the space around you. Feel free to send those intentions to others. Let's put it out there on this day of love. As you're ready, begin now to come out of our meditation practice. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Open your eyes and just notice how you feel. What was that like to create some kindness and support for yourself this morning? I thank all of you for being here with us from the Tallahassee Senior Center. We wish you all of the love today on this Valentine's Day. And take care, stay safe, and thank you so much.